The summer of 64 AD began like any other in the beating heart of the Roman Empire. Hot, restless, and buzzing with the constant hum of trade, politics, and ambition. Emperor Nero sat upon the throne, his rule marked by both splendor and scandal. Adored by few, feared by most, and watched by all. On the night of July 18th, somewhere near the bustling market stalls of the Circus Maximus, a single flame caught. It could have been from a careless merchant's lamp, or a spark from a kitchen hearth. History never decided. But the wind that night carried not only the scent of the Tiber, but the promise of destruction. The fire spread fast. It leaped from wooden roof to wooden roof, skipping alleys like a predator in the hunt. What began as shouts of alarm soon turned to screams of panic, the kind that hollow the chest and seize the breath. For 6 days and nights, Rome burned. Temples that had stood for centuries collapsed into glowing ash. Granaries holding the lifeblood of the city crumbled in clouds of sparks. Marble statues blackened and cracked under the heat, as if the gods themselves were turning to stone in horror. The people fled into the open fields beyond the city walls, clutching what little they could carry. A child, a bundle of clothes, a single loaf of bread. Others remained, fighting the flames with buckets of water, watching helplessly as the inferno mocked their efforts. When the fire finally died, the city lay in ruin. 2/3 of Rome was reduced to rubble and ash. Its streets were now little more than twisted black scars on the earth. And then, the whispers began. Some said they had seen imperial soldiers, not fighting the blaze, but fanning it, blocking escape routes, ensuring the fire had room to breathe. Others swore Nero had been seen far from the chaos, playing music and reciting verses, as though the destruction was a performance staged for his pleasure. Rumor grew into certainty. Nero, they said, had wanted the city gone. He dreamed of rebuilding Rome, not as it was, but as a monument to his own glory, crowned by a palace unlike any the world had ever seen. The Domus Aurea, the Golden House. But ambition comes with risk, and public rage was a fire of its own. Nero needed someone to blame. His gaze fell upon a small, unpopular sect, the Christians. To the Roman elite, they were strange, unsettling, even dangerous. They refused to worship the gods. They spoke of an all-powerful king who would return. And they gathered in secret, away from the public eye. The accusation was swift. The Christians had burned Rome, and the punishment was merciless. They were hunted through the streets, dragged from their homes, and thrown into prison without trial. Some were torn apart by wild dogs in the arena. Others were crucified in public squares as a warning to anyone who shared their beliefs. The most horrific were those coated in pitch, tied to stakes, and set alight, their bodies burning as grotesque lanterns to illuminate Nero's private gardens. Even in an age of brutality, the spectacle shocked the city. The flames had consumed more than just buildings. They had scorched away whatever humanity remained in Rome's politics. Centuries later, historians like Tacitus would write that the Christians were innocent, and that the fire's true cause was never proven. But the shadow of suspicion clung to Nero like the smell of smoke that lingers long after the embers die. Was he a visionary reshaping Rome in his image, or a mad tyrant willing to destroy his own capital for vanity? The answer remains buried beneath layers of ash and history. One thing is certain. In 64 AD, the world's greatest city burned, and an emperor's name burned with it. Like, subscribe, and join us again, because history remembers the flames long after the fire is gone.